Hello everybody, and thank you for coming back to the channel, and welcome to my new project and to my mess. In this small project, I'm not sure how many videos it's going to be, but I'm going to try to build the Hangar Rat, a classic. I know, I think from the 70s or 60s, something like that. And I started already to cut out the pieces. So these are the ribs, for example. But before I go and start to build, maybe let me explain why I'm going to do this. Key point is then going back to the basics, going back to the rubber powered. Rubber powered is always seen, I think, as the entry point, but that's the more I try, the more I realize it's also a very difficult part. It requires a lot of precision. Whereas with the RC, you have power on the airplane, so you can actually fly it a little bit easier. You have more chances there. So actually, going rubber powered is a challenge in itself. So let's see how that goes. Also, if you look on YouTube, there's some fantastic videos that you probably know already about people building and flying rubber powered. They're fantastic. I think my largest or my longest flight was like 5 or 6 seconds, and the people are up in the minutes. So I'm not sure how they do it. So that's a bit of the challenge from that perspective. So I want to try to get better on that, on the precision. And another reason on the side is also that it's probably cheap, as you don't have the electronics, right? You do have equipment, you do need the rubber, the propellers and things like that, but no electronics. So maybe also cheap apart from that side. So as I was mentioning, I've started already to build this one. The first challenge was actually to have the plan printed out. I hope it's kind of okay because it's printed out in 2 pieces of paper. I had to cut it and stick it together again a couple of times, so I hope it's okay. I've already cut out the fuselage, which is this, which comes here, and I've started to cut out the ribs. These are the ribs for the wings. They're going to be very small pieces. These are the root ribs, and then the ribs themselves are these little, I think it's 1 millimeter thick, which I'm not sure how this is going to hold. So these are going to be the ribs. So that's one of the big challenges also, how to make this all fit together. One thing I intend to do, I want to use the super glue, or CA I think it's called also. I'm not a fan of this because then my fingers get stuck together and I struggle to get them unstuck, so I don't like that. I do use it sometimes for some of the models for specific things. In this case, I think I'm going to try to use it when sticking in the ribs and putting it together. So let's see, that's also a bit of a learning curve for myself to see how that will go. So I'll go now and start to cut up the pieces for the tail surfaces, and then at some point I'll do the assembly, the tissue covering and things like that. It's a whole new challenge. So let me get back to you when I have a bit of progress. So the tail surfaces are now ready. That's the stabilizer and the rudder, built on the plan as usual. I have used the super glue. It does work, but it does seem to want to stick to things it shouldn't, so I have to be careful with it. I used my balsa stripper, not that I invented it, but I saw on internet how to build it. I put in 2 separators of 1.5 millimeters, hoping it would be a 3 millimeter strip like it says on the plan, but it turns out that 1.5 plus 1.5 equals 4. I don't know why, but anyhow, I have used a bit of a wider strips on the construction. It is maybe a bit sturdier. I hope it's not too heavy, so let's see. But anyhow, I use this. It's more fun than anything else. I could also use the normal cutter, right, and the ruler, like cutting with a normal X-Acto knife. One thing that I mustn't forget also to mention is to make a call out to Jose Jimenez, who has a video about how to build a Hangar Rat and also some of his adaptations and the changes that he has done to be able to adapt the wing, basically to be able to put the center of gravity in the right place with the wing and the landing gear. So here's a call out to him. I'll be using a lot, if not all, of his recommendations, at least on this attempt. Let's see how the next one goes, but that's important, because without that idea I probably wouldn't have even started this project. So thank you, Jose Jimenez. And what is then the next step? The next step will be then the wings, to build up the wings. I have the ribs, as I mentioned before. I need to also figure out how to put in the dihedral. It says it somewhere here, 64 millimeters dihedral at each tip. And I need to cut out the leading edge and the trailing edge. So I might be using my balsa stripper once again. A bit of a delicate part as they're very, very small pieces, but I hope I survive that, and with a super glue, hopefully it sticks well. So anyhow, that's the next step. I'll keep you posted. I've managed to do the right wing. It's probably the lightest and most feeble structure I've ever built. So I'm a bit worried that it breaks. But I want to keep it here because now I'm going to build on the same plan. I got to build the left wing. Right, so that means I have to leave this side open because this will be going here, and that's where I'm going to put then the root rib, which is here, but I'm going to do it then later. So now I'm going to go putting in the ribs, dropping in some of the glue, and just the 5 ribs, and then it will soon be ready. And that's it. So I've built both wings. I'm starting to like this super glue because it's the concept, because it is really drying very fast. I did this just a few minutes ago and it's still it dried up very fast. What I still have to do, I have to build in the root rib with some dihedral, so I have to do a bit of a jig for that. I still have then to sand down the shape. I don't know if you can see it actually, maybe like this. I have to sand down the shape of the leading edge and the trailing edge, that it's as smooth as possible. I have to put in also some gussets. There's some gussets indicated in the plan, which I'm not sure how I'm going to do, but I'm putting also some gussets for strength. And then there's also tissue covering and assembly, so I thought this would be one video, but I think it's going to be longer. So I leave it there for now. Thank you for following on this one. Come back for the next time and it'll be probably tissue covering. I'm not sure, I have to figure it out. But anyhow, thank you. See you later.